Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classics as Known Classics. This episode number 1320, Doubleshot number 1214. I have roughly one DC trade, one Marvel trade. First is a trade that, believe it or not, came out 17 years ago. Yes. The same year that I started reading comic books. This is Identity Crisis by Brad Militzer and Rag Morales. Yes, I met Rag. I've never met Brad Militzer. This is one of a few comic books he's actually written. I'm not kidding about that. One of like 4 or 5 he's ever written in like 20 years. Aside from this, he wrote Green Arrow, Archer's Quest, was basically about a 6-issue storyline that took up issues 16 and 21. And he also wrote Just Like America, first 12 issues. And that was it for several years until he decided to write a story for Action Comics 1000. Yep, he wrote that. And I think he also wrote a story for Comics 1002. 1000, the issue 1000. And that's it. Yeah. The thing with Brad Militzer is, the guy is a conspiracy theorist. Yes, he's a notorious writer. He writes a lot of novels. And he's got like a show called Decoded, which he's the host of it. Mostly they explore a lot of conspiracy theories, secret societies, stuff like that. And the guy is rich from all of his stuff, and he's able to do whatever the heck he wants. Mostly putting that show, he's just a host. He doesn't exactly interact with his crew very much. Mostly they do all the work, and he just sits behind the scenes. That's what they do in that show. But this I think was his first comic he actually did for that I can think of, because I can't think of any early comic he did for any company. Now, this was a 7-issue miniseries released in 2007. The whole thing with identities. Yep. Thing starts off with a murder mystery. Sue Dibney has been murdered. Who killed her? Does not reveal the last issue. So, some might say this is very similar to Original Sin in that tiny aspect of a murder mystery. The only difference is the person who killed her is not going to be so dumb about it. And Elongated Man basically is grieving, and the first person he suspects of killing his wife was Dr. Light. Like, you'd be like, really? Dr. Light, that goofball? Well, Brad Militzer didn't throw in a retcon. Yep, a retcon. What kind of retcon did he throw in? He retconned the fact that somehow, someway, Dr. Light found his way onto the satellite. Yes, the thing that made his debut back in the mid-70s. And get this. Got on board, found Sue Dibney, and he raped her. I am not kidding. Yes. And the Justice League were ticked off about this, so they had Santana wipe his memory. Oh, and just by sheer coincidence, at that very moment that she was wiping his memories very later, that Batman just happened to show up at that very second. Him seeing this, and he's like, no, this is wrong, and he stopped. And then his memory is wiped to this, though is later restored anyways. And it's also later revealed that this is not the first villain that they've done it to. They've done this to several villains. By the way, fun fact, Batman actually has agreed to this once in the pages of JLA when they had Martian and her mind wife Prometheus, the original one. No joke, that seriously happened. So, why was it retcon where in the 70s it was a no-no, but in the 90s, A-okay. Okay, whatever. So, Dr. Light, being desperate, decides to hire frickin' Deathstroke to protect himself from a bunch of superheroes who basically want to take him in for the apparent murder of Sue Dibney. And Deathstroke, and I agree with Linkar on this, it's him on God mode, where he proceeds to wipe the floor with the entire Justice League, with the exception of Green Arrow. By the way, the Justice League is basically made up of these following people: Hawkman, Black Canary, Green Arrow, Santana, Elongated Man, the Ray Palmer Atom, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, the Kyle Rayner Green Lantern, and the Wally West Flash. Yep, that's your lineup for this incarnation. Yeah, that one. Though, unlike with the crisis that happened 2 years later, at least the JLA book wasn't relaunched after this. Oh no. Though they later revealed that apparently because of this, Batman had contingency plans after this particular thing wrapped up, where it was found out by Ra's al Ghul, and he tried to kill the Justice League, though that was adapted for Tower of Babylon, which was adapted for JLA Doom. So, they also have it where there's a special unit that investigates the crime scene. Like, every single cranny. Like, they basically formed this unit after the death of Superman, and they couldn't find anything. They couldn't find anything that could kill Sue Dibney. So, they searched. Aside from Dr. Light, there was no other leads. Yeah, by the way, how did the Green Arrow beat him? By stabbing his arrow in Deathstroke's, eye. You're like, wait, didn't Oliver Queen do that on Arrow at the end of Season 2? Yes, he did. I don't know if basically Arrow took inspiration from that. The only difference is Oliver was on top of him and he poked that arrow in his eye. In the comic book, he's right behind him and he jumps on the back of him and then he stabs him in the eye. So, okay, over the course, as we have apparently where Ray Palmer is reunited with his ex-wife, Jean Loring. You're probably thinking, when the heck they got divorced? The 80s. Yeah, apparently because he fell in love with Alien Princess, he's like, oh, despite the fact he has a beautiful lawyer wife, divorce her for this smoking hot alien princess. Yeah, that happened in the Sword of Adam series from the 80s. Really good miniseries, highly recommend it. It's supposed to be ongoing, got canceled to 4 issues. So, over the course of this, he finds out that Sue got attacked, and they had to protect her, but nope. Before I get to what's going on with Jean Loring, I have to talk about briefly about the Captain Boomerangs. Yep, the first of 2 times these two ever met pre-Flashpoint. The original Captain Boomerang, Digger Harkness, teaming up with his son, I think his name is Owen Harkness, and he discovers that super speed. Like, of course, it was widely suspected. Now, they did confirm that the original Captain Boomerang was his father, but who was the mother? Well, it was highly suspectable. It was the late Golden Glider, who was the mother of Owen Harkness. Nope. Believe it or not, you won't believe who actually is the mother. It's the same woman who's the mother of Bart Allen, a.k.a. Impulse, a.k.a. Kid Flash, a.k.a. the fourth Flash. Yep, that woman. Yeah, apparently Digger decided to have one night stand with her. Also, here's the thing. Prior to this book coming out, basically Digger Harkness always picked this very thin. He's always been a bolding guy, but here he's like pot belly. He like one last mission, father and son. And what is the mission? Kill Jack Drake. You're probably thinking, really? They want to kill the father of Tim Drake? And of course, Tim goes out because he has to. And then they have a brawl, and both Jack Drake and Digger Harkness are both killed. Yep, they're both killed. And fun little fact about this. Jack Drake stayed dead. Never revived. Not even Black as Night revived. Not that I can think of, no. He stayed dead for a long period of time. It wasn't until the current continuity decided to resurrect him by undoing the death. Basically, this miniseries doesn't take place in current continuity though. So, Jack Drake never died. But Digger came back in Black as Night. Though his story was later explored in Flash Volume 3 by Jeff Johns. But also in the case of Sue Dibney, yeah, she died. And stayed dead too. Yeah, the only 2 deaths actually stay dead. Like, there's roughly about 3 or 4 people who died over the course of this miniseries. And only 2 people, the extra deaths actually stuck. Sue Dibney and Jack Drake. Though in the case of Tim Drake, after this miniseries wrapped up, he briefly moved to Bloodhaven to take over as the City Protector while Nightwing was recovering, and basically went there with Batgirl, aka Cassandra Cain. And the way, if you read the crossover, it's very heavily implied these two could have become a couple, but nope, they never did. They're just really good friends. Yeah, because at one point we usually see the whole patching up moment between a man and a woman. Usually that leads to sex. Nope, doesn't happen. Tim Drake's not interested in having sex with Cassandra Cain. This one got beautiful woman she is. And you know what the strange thing with Cassandra Cain is? She's had a few different boyfriends over the years, but nothing really stuck. Tim Drake has had a consistent girlfriend. Well, mostly anyways, basically in the form of Stephanie Brown, a.k.a. Spoiler. Even the current continuity, they keep the fact they're actually dating. But when the world they started dating, I had no idea when the heck that happened. So, who was responsible for killing Sue Dibney and setting up Captain Marine to kill Jack Drake? It was Jean Loring. Yep. So, because she's a lawyer, she can easily get away with this. And what does Ray Palmer do to his ex-wife? Drops her off at Arkham Asylum. I am not kidding. That is seriously what he does. He drops off his crazy wife at... He probably gets up any other insane institute. Nope, dropped off at the most well-known and publicly known, like the most worst one in the whole entire DC universe, Arkham Asylum. Yep, drop her off there and just don't fill in paperwork, and he goes off. And where does he go? He goes off the countdown, where he's not seen. After this, he disappears for about 5 years in comics. Yeah, he disappears for 5 years until he returns in Countdown. And then, of course, he's seen in few other stuff since then. Like after Countdown, he was seen in, I think he was seen in like Final Crisis, Blackest Night, Just Like Craft for Justice. He's seen in the current continuity, though he's not the Atom anymore. Roy Chio's the Atom. But in the case of what happened afterwards, well, Justice League, there were some consequences for them, but public-wide, no. They kept this thing pretty much under wraps. And as far as I can tell, no one, Zatanna never faced punishment for this at all. Though it did lead to something in several other books, like Catwoman's revealed that her memories were altered by Zatanna, and Batman knew nothing about it at all, which is quite interesting. The series is well written, though it has some very weird consequences. Though it's a very self-contained event. Here's the thing about this crossover. There's like no tie-ins. No tie-ins. Not really, no. And the book itself has got really good artwork. I at least gotta give high praise to the artwork. I'm not gonna show up Death from Sue. Yeah, we also see a brief cameo by Flamehawk. Yes, from the pages of Firestorm. Yep. She's here too. And here's a cover by Rags Morales. It is so good. I get this book roughly a... Excuse me. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. We'll give it a 9.5. But if I give it a 9.5, people might actually be flagged for it because this is a notorious miniseries from DC Comics. Yes, I did not read this when it... Here's the thing. I never read the series when it came out. I didn't read this 2 years later. Because I wasn't deep into DC Comics in 2010. So, that was roughly a year before the Flash reboot happened. So, despite the fact the best thing about this series is the artwork. It is really, really good. There are some mild hiccups with this, and if you want to get more detail about this miniseries, like, if any, like, major problems with the damn thing, look at Linkar's top 15 things wrong with this miniseries. Now, I do agree with some points to him. Yes, that the whole thing of, like, the mind wipe thing is kind of dumb. And Jean Loring revealed as the villain made absolutely no sense at all. It's almost like Melitzer had no real plan or revealing who the villain was. Indicate Jason Aaron, who actually did a similar event to this 10 years later with Original Sin. At least, basically, it wasn't quite obvious. At least that Nick Fury didn't go insane like Jean Loring did. Also, he wasn't locked up in an insane asylum, like in Marvel's version of Arkham Asylum, Ravencroft. Nope, he was in prison on the moon for like 6 years until he got freed from that position by the Watcher who came back. Yeah, that's interesting though, where this series, the person who died stayed dead and was revived in the current continuity, while in the case of the Watcher, who died back in 2014, resurrected 6 years later in the most strangest way possible. Alright, moving on, different stuff. This miniseries, this is Ant-Man World Hive. This is Ant-Man Volume 3. You are thinking, Volume 3? Okay, I get the fact we had Nick Spencer's, like, what wasn't that the first volume? Technically, no. For when I read a line, originally this was a miniseries for Hank Pym as Ant-Man. Yep, he was supposed to get one back in 2004. But it got canceled. As far as I know, I've never asked anybody, like, what was the reason why the miniseries got canceled? It just got canceled. Also, apparently, this one lasts the same amount as the original volume of Nick Spencer. Of course, there's references to that in here. So basically, Not Hank Pym. This is actually, of course, Scott Lang. He is in Florida. Yep, spending time with his daughter. And instead of having a house, he lives in a hill. He does mention what happened to a security firm. The fact that also, if you've read, basically there's references to Ant-Man, Astonishing Ant-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy. They reference all of that. And I don't think they reference Ant-Man the Wasp, which was basically him teaming with Nitty and Pym. Really good miniseries from Mark Waid. Highly recommend it. Mostly put, it's a father and daughter miniseries where he's hired by the Florida Beekeeper Association to investigate missing bees, which were taken by, of all people, Swarm. Which was so obvious that it was frickin' Swarm. Now, here's the thing about Swarm. The thing is, he is a Champions villain. You're probably thinking, wait, is he enemy of the Teenage Champions? Oh, no. He was a villain for the Champions of the 1970s. The team that was comprised of Black Widow, Hercules, the Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider, Archangel, Iceman, and Darkstar. That lineup. Otherwise known as the Champions of LA. A book that lasted 17 issues. I will discuss that later on in the video. But yeah, he was actually one of the book's 2 original villains. You want to know who the other villain was? Rampage. You were thinking, Rampage. You mean that guy? Well, his real name was Stuart Clark. I'm like, wait, Stuart Clarky? Didn't he pop up in Matt Fraction's Punisher War Machine? Yes, he did. Yep. Champions was the first book he debuted in. He was actually a recurring villain in that series. Swarm appeared for a couple issues, but that was it for him. Mostly put, he popped up in various other books. Mostly a lot of time he fights Spider-Man because, well, he's a bug. So, also, yeah, Spider-Man and Black Cat do show up in here as well, which is, they pop up for like 1 issue, and they're there because they found the corpse of Hambug. You're probably thinking, who the heck is Hambug? Well, I don't know much about the guy, aside from the fact he was part of the 2006 lineup of Heroes for Hire. Yeah, the one where one of the covers, where it was a very controversial cover, where it featured, I think it was like Misty Knight, Culling Wing, and Tarantula. What looks like they're about to be raped by tentacles. Yeah, I think that was issue 10, I believe it was, of that volume for the series. Yeah, he was part of that lineup, and he later portrayed the team. I think he was later killed, and of course they find his bug here. Now, the reason why Swarm was take out these bees was because of 3 other bug villains. You're thinking, bug villains? Yeah, I'm not kidding about that. Okay, so the people who he was trying to fight are Vespera, the thing that is hornets, Thread, the thing that is silkworms, and Tusk, the thing that is beetles. Yeah, these 3 bug villains are what basically they're up against. And by the way, Swarm is actually in pretty much all 5 issues. And of course, these creatures defeated, and with everything, by the end of this, everything's pretty much restored. And, well, also, Cassie herself is offered, get this, she's offered a spot on the Avengers West Coast, which, that's cool. Bad news, book's canceled. So, she was offered a position on a series that got canceled after 9 issues. Actually, it was 10. It was really short. Yeah, this book, I don't really understand why. It seems like Kelly Thompson's got this really big problem with DC Marvel, where like almost every book she's been on, except for like 2, keep getting canceled. I'm like, seriously, Marvel, stop canceling her damn books. I think like the only book that's actually lasted more than a year has been Captain Marvel because she's popular. Yep. Now, the miniseries itself, this one's written by Zeb Wells. I would actually hesitate to get this miniseries because I wanted to wrap up Nick Spencer run, but I'm happy I got this. The artwork here is now by Dylan Barnett, who does actually a pretty good job with this book. That's actually a cover, which that's actually not him, it's actually Eduardo Pradovich. Yep. And the artwork here is really good. If they ever did another Ant-Man miniseries, I would definitely get it. This book is actually pretty good. Pretty fun. Got good humor. And I get the book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. I think what Zeb Wells is, he's one of like 2 writers along with Jim Zeb, who's a very underrated writer at Marvel. where like he doesn't get, these two guys don't get a lot of work at Marvel. I mean, yeah, I know who these two guys are because I read a lot of their work. So that was one reason I picked up, another because I like Ant-Man. Yeah, I only guess is the reason why they decided to do this because third Ant movie is supposed to come out soon. Presumably, I think it's supposed to be next year. It's supposed to come out, the third one, which is basically going to feature Cass Lane become Stinger in the movies, but that's going to be interesting. Yep. So if you're a fan of the Nick Spencer Ant-Man series, like both Ant-Man and Astonishing Ant-Man, along with the Guardians of the Galaxy by Gary Duggan and Ant-Man and the Wasp by Mark Waid, like read those books first. So you get this book, and if you enjoy those books, I do recommend check this book out. But you also recommend reading there. Yep. But yeah, that's it with a particular review, and that's pretty much it for videos today. I don't think I have any more videos planned for today. I was thinking of doing one, but I'll probably save it for another day if I get a chance to. Okay. Next video. Bye.